All right, welcome back. So I got home a little late. It's kind of dark, and I'm kind of tired. Don't want to work on it. So we're going to do something a little different today. We're going to talk about like past cars I've had, and that'll be later in the video because I'll throw some pictures up and kind of rant a little bit, just about a few car things that I've kind of noticed and kind of find kind of funny. So just real quick, you can see how how that paper stuck to that bond. So I just wanted to show that real quick. So now I can just lightly sand that and just touch paint it. But then other than that, yeah, so my rant is kind of funny. A lot of people kind of, kind of asking me, in real life here, like, oh man, that's how much is this costing you? Because I think I'm saving a lot of money. Well, I am saving a lot of money. I really am. But it's labor costs. There's these videos on YouTube, and they're total clickbait. But it's like, oh, $125, $200 paint job. Well, yeah, the little quart of paint costs maybe that much, but they don't take into account the labor and the primer cost, the material cost, like all the sandpaper, and like for me it's the epoxies, and that stuff really adds up. So far, material cost wise, I'm about $2,000. It should get me close to painting the whole car though. But I'm doing something a little different. Like I said, I'm just gonna try and do the rattle can a method, because I don't want to go too crazy with it. But I was just kind of thinking, kind of the shop rate around here for body shops is about 140 an hour. Give or take. Some of them are less, but so I've got about 90 hours so far into just where I am right now. And if I was to farm this out, that's pretty close to 12 grand if it was just labor hours. Now, granted, I work slower. I'm not a professional. Professionals probably can do this probably in half the time, but still, we'll say 6 grand. That's still a lot of money, to have body work done. And that's just the body work. That's not painting it. That's not sanding it down or anything like that. Top quality paint jobs nowadays are about $20,000. I'm hoping to stay under $3,000 for this project. And mainly it's the labor costs. Labor is getting pretty expensive nowadays. So if you can do a lot of it yourself, yeah, you're going to save a ton of money. So anyway, that was kind of one of the rants I wanted to say, is just that, is there's no way you're going to do a paint job for $125, $100, $200. It's just not possible. $500, possible, and that's just scuffing up the paint, putting a little bit of primer down and shooting it. That's very possible. So, and that's the cheapest of the cheap that you could find. And yeah, so anyway, yeah, and then some of my other cars, you've probably seen them. Of course, you got the Vet here, my Subaru, and of course the Jag that my girl drives. So my Subaru, the AC went out. Well, the clutch didn't click on, and it just needed more I guess was it R134 or whatever it is, the Freon. And that's all it took, and it blows coal again. But still, that little can of Freon, cost $40. Parts and all of these items, like I said, the tools you need and everything. Things are just getting too expensive. Don't even get me about the grocery store. I'm not even going to go there. I mean, for a little hand basket anymore, it's $100. It's just crazy. So that's kind of, I'm being real here for people. I want to let you know that it's not, you can save a ton of money and do it yourself, and do a quality paint job. I mean, not high end quality, but quality enough to where, you can get 5 foot away from it and go, oh man, that looks really good. But then as you really start looking, go, oh yeah, look at this little wave here. Look at this, kind of like this car had before, And so some of the, just some of the little things kind of like that one little spot there where it's all real wavy, but it's a driver car. Now, if it was a show car and, something else, I'd spend the money. But, and tell you the truth, right now, money's getting tight. My jobs, yeah, they reevaluated how our pay is and everything. So I'm losing about $800 a month in my checks, and I just got my last check with that pay decrease. Was it last Friday? And I'll tell you what, that's gonna hurt. I'm kind of thinking like, well, how am I gonna even get by with that? So, everybody's going through the same stuff right now. Everything's too expensive. So anyway, that's just my rant. I just want to let people be a little realistic. When people hear like a $20,000 paint job, well, you're paying a lot for the labor. And if you could get one for $5,000-$6,000, and I mean a quality paint job, not just going down to Mako and getting one for $1,000, because that's just a scuff and spray. I'm actually talking like a decent paint job. So, just be kind of realistic about it. And when you're like at car shows and stuff like that, I know a lot of people, they have those zippers and the little buttons on their pants and stuff, people they're leaning over the car, and that button might put a little scratch in those $high paint jobs. So just be a little courteous, and stuff like that when you're at car shows and stuff. I had a funny story in my 2006 Corvette. I was at a car show, and a little kid, he just came and he didn't mean to, but he pushed the hood down and it just slammed. And I was more worried that it got his fingers or whatever. He was tiny, like, I don't know, maybe 7. And he just started crying, and I thought it got his fingers. Well, luckily it wasn't that. And his mom just grabbed him and just ran off. And I wasn't upset or anything, but I was, I was just more concerned maybe that kid got his finger in the hood. And so if I ever do get another Corvette, I'm going to make sure that they have some type of hood lock, on those newer ones, because the hydraulic, even though it lifts it up, still can come down on you. So anyway, that's enough of my rant, and then I'll tell you about the cars, and I'll kind of go through some of the pictures I've had of my old cars and stuff. They're not going to be high quality, of course. I mean, they're old pictures, so. And we'll talk about some of my old rides, and we'll probably start with the very first one I had, so, and work my way up. Yeah, okay, so here we go. I'm going to try and go in order with the cars I've gone through and kind of explain how I got them and whatnot. And there are a few that I just don't have pictures of, and I'm surprised I just didn't take more pictures of cars, because I've always been into cars. But so here goes. Here in this first picture, you can kind of see me. This is my very first car. This was a 1972 Ford Maverick. It was this is the only picture I have of it, I believe it or not. It was like a metallic gray. It was spray painted. It used to be like a gold color, and it had brown interior, and of course my dad had it sprayed at his shop that he worked at. to it is a darker gray, charcoal gray. And that little car, that was my very first car. I drove it for a couple of years, and it only had it had a 250 straight six and automatic transmission. It was gutless, but it got me around. It was a great first car. 1972 Ford Maverick. And what was funny is then after high school, I just started going to college in Grand Junction, and then I found this blue Maverick for $1,000. This is the first car I ever bought, and it had the 302, and it was automatic, but it just caught my eye for $1,000. I mean, I couldn't go wrong. But it needed a lot of work, and first thing I did was I put on these what they call baby moon rims, as you can kind of see in the picture. And over the years, I drove it for 14 years, and over the years, I just fixed it up, overhauled the engine, transmission. I just went through everything, got it repainted, the original color. But this car I was trying to keep pretty much all original to a point. The internals, of course, I beefed up the internals to make it a little bit faster. We got to have a little power to these cars. We got to have a little bit of modification. But this one I tried to keep mostly original and stock for the most part. And you can kind of just see how it turned out. It was just a great little car. I drove it for 14 years straight. I mean, that was my daily driver forever. And I have to admit, that was probably the best car I had. How can I say it? Best car I had that I bought by myself and did everything myself. I was very proud of that car. I redid the interior, had the interior redone, and just went through just everything on that car. And the fun thing about this car is, it was actually in a calendar. Here's the picture of the calendar, of the car in the calendar. That's the photo that made the calendar. It actually made the cover, believe it or not, which was really cool. And then these pictures here, I had it at a car show with my dad with his 66 Chevelle Super Sport. And, so here's a couple of pictures of us at the car show. I did win an award at this one. Let's see. I can't remember which one it was, but I'm not quite sure. But I did win some type of just like a ribbon or something there. And then one time, it was funny, here in Vegas, the Boy Scouts were having a car show, and I wanted to just go to the car show, but I was driving my Maverick, and I was just driving in, and they just waved me on in. So, it was funny. I drove into the Boy Scout car show, and I won an award there. I got best paint, which was very, very funny. I just thought that was hilarious. And before I sold the car, because I was listing it up for sale, and someone reached out to me and they said, well, we don't want to buy the car, but how would you like to have it in a music video? And so I'm like, okay, then they'll pay me to have it in a music video. So here's a few pictures of the, just a few still clips of the music video by this music artist, and they paid me to have the car in the video, which was kind of fun and nice. And I got to see how they filmed everything, and they filmed it out in the Valley of Fire here in Vegas. I'm sorry if I butcher his name, but for Scotchy, or I can never pronounce his name right. I have a hard time pronouncing stuff. So, but that was really cool. So it was in a video there. My third car, which I got right after the Maverick, was a 1974 Corvette. Had the 454 in it. let's see, I picked that one up in 2001, or no, 2000 maybe, 2001 ish. And I got this one for $6,000. It needed a little bit of work too. I just really enjoyed this car. And you can kind of see me and my dad kind of working on it a little bit there. The car was pretty damn fast, and I probably should have died in it. I drove it a little too crazy, but being young and dumb, like I said, I don't have very many pictures of it, but it had the automatic 454. I got that thing just screaming fast, and just being young and dumb though with it. But yeah, and then I kept blowing the engine, and because I was racing it all the time, so I kept blowing the engine, doing stupid stuff. So I eventually said, "Oh, I'm gonna trade it in," I sold it. It was actually kind of a trade-in / sell, and I got a what was it? A 96 Grand Prix, I do believe it was. Because I needed a like more of a reliable daily driver besides the Maverick. So because I drove the Maverick quite a bit, but I just needed something more reliable because I was driving long distances. Well, then that one got wrecked with a Grand Prix, which I don't have any pictures of it. And then after that, I had a Ford Granada, which I don't have a picture of that. 1976, I do believe. Ford Granada. And I used it for work to transport, stuff. Because it was a boat, and I could transport everything and use it for work. And that worked out great. And until it bit the dust. It got struck by lightning, and ever since then, it wouldn't start, wouldn't work, I don't know. So I sold it off. Somebody took the engine and rebuilt the engine, put it in a van, a Ford van. So then after that died, I went and bought this Nissan Sentra, and you can kind of see the body mods I made to it. I had a body kit I put on the body kit, so the hood and the front fender and rear fender, and it was just a fun little racer car. Like I said, I just can't leave a car alone. I always have to do something, even if it's stereo or whatever. So anyway, but yeah, that was a fun little car. And then that one got wrecked. Somebody ran a red light and T-boned me, and so totally totaled that car. So after that car was totaled, and of course this is when I started making a little bit more money and everything. This is when I went out and bought my 2006 Corvette, and that one of course had the LS2. It was just pretty much bone stock. I didn't do a whole lot to it. I just enjoyed the hell out of that car. That car was probably one of the funnest cars I ever owned. And you can kind of see it here at the car show, along with my dad's Chevelle, and it's so there's another car show after that. And then after that, I took my dad's Chevelle here, and then we decided I was going to repaint it. So everything I did, I did all the body work and everything on it. So you can kind of see, here's the engine bay, and I had that taped off, repainted it, all of that inside there, and got it all freshened up. And then here's a picture of it actually being painted in the garage, and that was just a total mess. And this is why I'm going rattle can, is because when I spray painted this using my air compressor, it just, paint particles were everywhere, and I just couldn't control, all the dust and all that. The paint job came out great. Don't get me wrong, paint job did come out great, but it was too messy. And that's the last thing I need right now. And I don't need my girl like getting all bent out of shape, because there's, you know, paint dust all over her stuff and everything. So that's why I'm kind of doing things differently with the Vette that I got right now. And so here's the final product. You can kind of see, actually, it's kind of funny. You can see the Maverick in the background and my Vette off to the side there. Yeah, but it turned out pretty nice. You can see the reflection, everything there. Of course, the interior. So anyway, and then right now, of course, I got that the Subaru, and that was, I traded in the Vette for the Subaru because my girl couldn't drive a manual, and of course she had a little kid. So when I pick up the kid, she wouldn't let me drive the Vette and have the kid up in the front seat, and that's all fine. So, and the Vette needed, just general maintenance and stuff. They, needed like $4 or $5 grand and like brakes and just maintenance stuff. And so I figured, I'll just trade it in instead of paying the maintenance and going forth with that. And then I bought the Jaguar for my girl, to upgrade her little car from a Toyota Yaris. And then I bought this, of course, the black Vette that I'm working on right now. So anyway, that's kind of my story of the cars that I've owned and everything. So, that way people can kind of see what else I've owned and what else I've done. And hopefully this kind of, gives you an idea of why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. All right, I appreciate all the things you guys have done for me and watching, and, so this is just something a little different for you guys. All right, have a good night.